The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning, Bahamas. Good morning, good morning. You're on the clock with Erin Greene. It's Thursday, March 18th, 2021. On the clock, we engage organizations, institutions, social and cultural leaders, and ordinary people to better understand the impact of public policy, private sector development, and emerging social and consumer trends. On the clock, we have conversations that help us understand and navigate a rapidly changing Bahamas. Today is Open Line Thursday. I have a guest joining me in studio, a young human rights advocate, Mr. Darwin Thompson. Morning.
Morning, everybody.
And we're looking at all of the things in the newspaper this morning. There's plenty things in the newspaper this morning. And there's a story from yesterday that I just could not let go. It is the story with the Minister of Health defending campaigning activity. And so I want to touch on that as well in the discussion. But like I said, it's Open Line Thursday. So please call in. Let us know what you want to talk about or anything. Is there anything in these stories that concern you? Because I can tell you the things in these stories that concern me, things that we need to talk about. And if you want to join the conversation, you know you tuned into Guardian Radio 96.9 FM on radio. Here's how you could find us in other modalities. We're streaming live, audio and video, on GuardianTalkRadio.com. You can also listen in on TV, on Cable Bahamas Channel 969, or on Flow 12. Or you can download the Guardian Radio app for your Apple or Android smart devices and listen to our audio feed or watch us on our video feed right there on the Guardian Radio app. You can also text us on the Guardian Radio text line. That's 422-4796. That's 422-4796. And that's powered by BTC Standard Text Rate Supply. Or you can call us at 323-6232. That's 323-6232. Or 325-4316. Or 326-4259. So, I thought my guest was going to be a little late this morning. You know why? Because he's a waking daddy. We've been talking about women all month because it's International Women's Month. And we've been talking about the double burden, right, of the working mother. Rarely do we talk about the burden of the waking father. So when he texted me this morning to say, look here, I want to tell him, just be easy, son. Be easy. I know why. Because baby don't care. The baby don't care about your feelings and other people's feelings.
Exactly.
Baby need what it need, right? And so I had to practice a little spatial awareness, realize where I was located in that dynamic and give my brother some time and space, right? Don't rush. Take your time to get here. I think spatial awareness is so important, such an important soft skill. We touched on it a little bit in our discussion yesterday with the ladies from CIWL, the Caribbean Institute for Women in Leadership, and Zonta, in their programming for parliamentary and leadership in public office. And the soft skill of spatial awareness, one of the most important skills, like things that you're going to learn. And often we talk about it in terms of emotional intelligence, right? Another soft skill. But this skill is a real thing, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of Bahamians understand spatial awareness, you know. Mm-hmm. You ever seen Rastaman pause, take a step back, put his hand on his chest and say, my Lord, to let another brother walk past, right?
Of course.
That's spatial awareness. Mm-hmm. And in my practice, right, as a human rights advocate, I have to always understand where I'm located in the dynamic that I try and interrogate. Right. So here's some things I see, right, when I'm practicing this soft skill. Right. You ever notice that wherever there's a mango tree, there's a ganeb tree?
Not explicitly, no.
Well, look here. When you drive through Nassau, everywhere you see everywhere I go, when I see a mango tree, I see a ganeb tree.
I'll check it.
Mango and ganeb, they like best friends.
Yeah.
They love each other.
Well, I know my grandmother's yard definitely has a lot of mango and ganeb trees
Yeah.
next to each other. Yeah.
And you know what I realized? I realized that pigeons sit in mango trees, right?
Right.
And drop ganep seeds. And that's probably why there's so many mango trees next to ganep trees, right?
Wow, yeah.
Kermit, I see we got a caller on the line. I know it's open line Thursday. So if they're ready to join the conversation, we're ready to let them in. But so I also, because it's a little loud here, because I practice, I sell local produce, right? I'm always looking at fruit. And I notice that passion fruit, first of all, it's a superfood. You could drink the leaves, boil them for tea, or the empty shell for tea, or the flowers for tea. But don't boil the flowers, because then how we can make more fruit.
Right.
But it's a non-narcotic sedative,
Okay.
right? When you see you have a little children.
Yeah.
When your little children get to school age and they leave school at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and they realize that they have once again secured their freedom from the system, right? And they running on that playground, give them some passion fruit juice. They can calm them down. And instead of saying, Daddy, 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 I'm ready, they're going to say, Father, I am prepared to leave this place now. Let us go. Well, here's what I noticed about passion fruit, right? Passion fruit wants to run like little children.
Yeah.
It will run on anything, but it would prefer to run on something that's living.
Okay.
And more than that, it would prefer to run on something that produces fruit.
Okay.
Right? So if you ever watch a passion fruit, how it behaves, you realize that it has a relationship with the things around it. It is aware of what's around it and can make a decision where it wants to go, right?
So even the passion fruit got spatial awareness.
This is what I'm saying,
Wow.
right?
Wow. Yeah.
Like, it's an important thing.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at us humans, I wonder if we really getting it, right? And so today, one of the things I'm going to be looking at in these stories is whether the people involved understand what spatial awareness is and the need to practice it,
Right.
right? And do they understand how important it is in the way that they do?
Very timely.
But look here, I got two callers on the line, so let's go straight to the line. Caller, you on the clock? I am sorry, caller. Caller, you on the clock?
Early day, you know, what's wrong with you, Erin?
Hey, good morning. How you do?
I'm holding. I'm just tired of this foolishness with what the police are allowing in Spence Street off Mason's. The thing is,
Hold on. Repeat that. What? I didn't get the part about Mason's edition.
Spence Street off Mason's Edition.
Okay.
Right? Now, a guy assaulted me with a rock in my head for no reason at all.
Okay, hold on.
Around playing crazy.
Is this a current case? Are you currently before the courts with this matter?
Well, the thing is, I had a lawyer to. They told me I couldn't put it in court. The lawyer told me I couldn't put it in court until the police, arrest the guy. And the thing is, the police came around here once looking for him, and his grandmother lied and told.
Well, no, don't say that.
Okay.
You gotta be careful. See, that's the thing about spatial awareness, right? I appreciate.
Well,
what you're
I know what
going
I'm
through.
speaking of.
I know,
I'm
but
speaking truth.
I know, but still, see,
Okay,
this is the
let
thing.
me make it simple
You
then.
don't want to jeopardize your case by saying something
Okay,
but in
okay,
the
got you.
courts. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, my point is the police hadn't picked up the guy. And I don't think the police, I think if police have a job to do, they should do it. Other point is, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had chopped down a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it fell over on my premises or across my fence and everything on it, right?
Uh-huh.
A heavy tree. And I've been trying to get the police to have them move it for weeks, and they haven't moved it as yet. You see? Then my last point is, see, the thing is, I don't think the commissioner know what those guys are doing. You see? They're getting our money for nothing. Okay? My last point is, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are some people build a toilet, and anyhow, I call the health people about some people were throwing feces on my premises, right?
Right.
When the health people got here, right?
Mm-hmm.
They told me one set doesn't have any water and one set doesn't have any toilet. Now, the one set what they had did, right? Recently, they had built a toilet over a well.
All right, so they
So
tried
they're
to...
destroying the water
Water
table.
table.
They're diseasing the water table. And the thing is, Ministry of Health haven't done anything. They're not doing anything about it.
Okay.
You see?
So let me give you some tips, right? Or some suggestions that may help you in finding resolution for these matters. See that last matter that you're talking about? That just speaks of a total lack of spatial awareness, right?
Absolutely.
That may be exacerbated by urgency and desperation, right?
Right.
So here's what I'm going to say. Get your camera. Document everything,
Every single
right?
thing.
You start a file. Day one, take pictures. Every day, go out 3 times or 4 times a day and make an assessment. If you have the resources available to you, buy a security camera.
Right.
Maybe 2 entry point and the spot that they are dumping the waste, right? Document for a period of time and create a file. Take the file to the Eugene DePuch Law School, Legal Aid Clinic, the Eugene DePuch Legal Aid Clinic, and ask for their advice. Duplicate the file, take it to your MP, your constituency office, ask for their assistance. Also, the first thing that came up for me, Darwin, was if we had a functioning local government, a number of these issues probably could be dealt with right away, right?
Quickly.
So the matter with the tree,
Right.
right? Also with the tree, document it, right? Pictures of it
Exactly.
on your thing, because if it is in their yard and it damaged your property, they're responsible for it. Now the question is, can they afford to move it, right? It may be another consideration. Did they pay to move it?
Right.
And is that person responsible, right? But the owner is responsible, but are they now in a conflict with the person who took down the tree, trying to get them to cover the costs of it, right? But a functioning local government would allow you to document it repeatedly, and it would be an intermediary, right? And they probably could get environmental health to come, or Ministry of Works to come and move it and send the bill to the homeowner,
Exactly.
right? But then you still also go to your insurance company.
Right.
If you have home insurance, right, go to your insurance company.
It's a lot of good advice there. Yeah.
Yeah, because in many instances, there are systems in place to deal with these issues, but we are unaware of them,
Exactly.
right? But that's one of the things home insurance is for.
Right.
Because an insurance agent will call their insurance agent or will put the weight of their firm on them, the pressure to get that dealt with. Now, if this is your neighbor and you're trying to make friends, you're trying to maintain good neighborly relations, right? Even if you were the person putting in the most effort, Bremen, right? We're talking about spatial awareness. Think about whether you can ask other members of the community to help you remove the tree. Document the process so that you could show that you are not taking responsibility for the cost or for the damage, and get people in the neighborhood to help you move the tree. And then here's another thing. Call it a barbecue grill out. See if you could get somebody them to donate some chicken and some ribs and use the wood to grill. See if you could get people to help with the invitation that they get to eat afterwards, right? I got a text here. Good morning. When are you inviting Dave to the show? Well, if that's you, Dave, you don't have to text in and ask. You call the station for my contact, because I don't have your contact, right? Or get in touch with me on Facebook. In fact, to all the political advocates and new candidates, if you're interested in coming on the show and having a discussion, right, reach out to me via Facebook. I have 2 pages, Erin Greene and Erin On the Clock with Erin Greene. You can reach out to me on any of those pages, and we could work this out. Look here, we got another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock.
Your guest.
Good morning.
I enjoyed that interview with your the leader of the DNA.
Yes, sir, it was good.
It was good. I think you should ask tougher questions, though.
Yeah, you think so?
You let it get away with a lot. You did well, though. You let it get away with a lot, though.
Well, I tell you what it was. It was an introductory discussion.
Oh, yeah, but before I get to my point, One of the things I wanted to know is, since her husband is from Nigeria, and the man is the head of the home, if you become a prime minister, and you know Nigeria believe in Muslim, he's first of all, her husband is a Muslim, would he dictate to her? And was she governed? I know she can't govern the Constitution, but was she governed as a Muslim?
You wondering if there's if there may a personal conflict may arise, given the nature
of course, of course. People don't understand what you're saying. What I'm saying, Erin. 21/7.
Yeah.
Would it be a conflict?
Well, I don't think so.
No,
Well,
I don't think so either.
That's a question.
No. I mean, and it's an interesting question.
Of course, because I believe in questioning candidates, and my candidates can tell you I ask challenging questions.
But let me ask you a question.
Before you ask me a question, I want to go on with this. It's very important for your human rights, because I know you have a gentleman in there.
Okay, but now listen. The focus isn't human. No, the focus isn't human rights today. I just.
No, I know, but I want to throw this in here. I know. I got
okay.
you. You want me? Will you
go on? Go on.
Yeah, Bremen is a blind fellow. I don't know if you know Bremen is blind.
Yeah.
And I'm an advocate for righteousness and the disabled too.
Mm-hmm.
A special division need to be set up in the police force for persons like that, or to challenge person. So I like your human rights, gentlemen, to lobby for that.
You know what? Sure. That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
It's an excellent point. Initially, but I would say initially, the police force at one point had a domestic violence unit, right? Because they saw the need to focus on it, and so they created a unit where they trained officers specifically to deal with those issues. Right.
Or just be human.
Say that again.
Just exercise
humanity, right, and civility and decency.
That's a part of their job. Training. I hope they need proper training in that.
But one of the reasons why they needed to create the unit is because it appeared as if there's a social conflict, right, between what people believe and what the laws say, right, you could do. What people believe they could do and what the laws say they could do.
Right.
And so in the same instance, right, we need to sensitize officers to the special nature of dealing with diverse communities, in particular vulnerable communities,
of course,
like the disabled.
And to comment on that also, caller, I think that society as a whole should come together and work on these things in unison, right? With the neighborly suggestion that Erin would have made, getting your neighbors together. I think it may be a little bigger than that. I did not know that the gentleman was blind, right?
No.
But now hearing that, if a group of persons were to want to help him and come together and get it done, it's easier to know now, hey, this is someone that really needs our help. This isn't just somebody calling the radio station to complain about a simple issue. This is someone that really needs help. So as civil society, we can come together and create the mechanisms to help people like that, right? Instead of waiting on the government to do it. At times they're not really able to. We can go ahead and get it done ourselves.
Right, not cutting you off, but this is why we need local government.
Yeah.
What you said, it will well be covered in a local government community effort.
Exactly.
Right.
Bremen is in a community, but the community is not downsized to govern their affair, and how would they look at each situation in Cuba, including Bremen, in terms of a special needs division in a local government.
Yeah.
Right.
And
if you notice, in every first world country, they have a local government. Like in Florida, you saw with the corona and Hawkins or what have you. It's handled from a local government perspective, and it works.
Yeah.
In New Providence are overpopulated. In New Providence, need local government, and each division need to be separated and run.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I am looking. I got another caller on the line, and thank you very much for making that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And imagine local government would facilitate one disabilities unit, and when you come into a community, you liaise with local government agents, right?
Exactly.
To determine what specific information I need to be able to engage this case.
Exactly.
But let's get to that next caller. Call you on the clock.
Good morning, Erin. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
I'm good, Mom. I'm a good schoolmate. Erin, I was listening, to an earlier show with Dwight, and, and we were talking about the DNA and all these other parties, political parties, aspiring political parties, and I think the leader of the DNA took exception to her party being called a fringe party. I don't know if that's an acceptable word or a word that should be used. I don't know. I mean, I think the word fringe would want to more or less put them in a different box from the big parties, from the other popular parties, which I think, I mean, until you actually have a seat at the table, I think you would be called a fringe party until such time. But here's my thing. Election was May 10, 2017, right? So here's the thing for me. It's disappointing when most of these, I would say 99% of the parties, they come out, and I know you can attest to this, really a year and a half before election, with agendas, platforms, ideas, and all these grandiose stuff. And, my thing is, I think if you want to be taken seriously as a party of a contender, Erin, election was on the 10th. On May 11th, you should be on the ground.
That's right.
Agreed.
On May 11th, you let the government know, and the opposition know, hey, look here, let me tell you something. We ain't playing with y'all. Every misstep, we're gonna jot it down, and we let the people know. Everything, every infraction, we're gonna make sure. Hold your feet to the fire. Erin, you can't come to the people in 2021 saying, listen, we've been around for a while, but we haven't heard about you. And we hear about these leaders, definitely. And the agendas they come with are almost a mirror to what we have now. I've not really heard any new ideas. Now, I support the free national movement. Anyone who knows it, they know that I do. And for my own various reasons. But here's the thing. If we want to be other parties seriously, you cannot come out, Erin, a year before election and tell me, hey, look at me, we're a different choice.
Absolutely.
Because you don't have enough time to canvass 39 constituencies adequately to hear people's concerns, to hear what they need, to hear what it is that they want to see done in their communities. A year's not long enough.
But listen, you don't have enough time to prove or to show that you know how to govern something, that you know how to create something, to bring it to the people and govern it, sustain it.
And not to be disrespectful, but when they come around, Erin, it's almost laughable to me, because the first thing I would want to ask you, why should I even take you seriously? What's the name of your party, ABC? I just heard about you guys 2 weeks ago.
You see that point that you made about the exception to being labeled a fringe party, right?
Right.
See, someone like me, I see the advantage of being on the fringe. And then there's a disconnect because their early campaigning painted the monoliths, right?
Right.
The monoliths are the same thing, and we are on the outside of them. Right? Suggesting to me I on the fringe. Right. So, just like you iterated just now, we not a part of that culture. We on the fringe.
Right. And not to change the subject, but I just want to say something really quick about the vaccines, right? I heard the leader of the opposition say, that the administration has yet to make him understand their position on the rollout plan. And he said he thinks that Bahamians should have an option as to which particular brand that they want to take. But Erin, come on. First and foremost, it is voluntary. It was from the break it again. It's voluntary. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't, no problem. No big deal. Okay. Number two, we don't make vaccines. We don't make them. We don't have a scientific lab over that does it. We either buy them or, like they said, they were donated. And I don't think it's fair to put fear in people about taking this vaccine when you say you have an issue about the rollout, you have an issue about the brand that's being administered, but yet you said you're going to take it anyway.
Yeah.
And my thing is, listen, we want normalcy. We want some level of normalcy, whatever that will be. I don't know what it'll be. I don't know how it'll be. But if the vaccine is a step in that direction, be it AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, J&J, I think, if we don't have an option, I think the only sensible thing is to just go with what you have for now, because
right, as opposed to fighting over getting a different type of vaccine. Yeah.
Erin, unless you are prepared to go buy 10,000 vials of each brand and donate it to the Bahamas government, and then here now they can have a choice. You know they say beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
Listen, Erin,
Look here, I gotta go. I got a couple more callers, right? But this point you're making is about spatial awareness. Do you understand where we are located in the global vaccine rollout? Do you understand the limited capacity of your government to make these types of choices and the limited options in the global rollout plan in terms of availability of multiple roles? Also, in case you all haven't noticed, in terms of spatial awareness, I plan on critiquing the government very heavily on its rollout plan or lack thereof. But of course, we have to make a point. It's very difficult to have a plan when you have no guarantees or certainties, right? About deliverables, about dates, about when they will be delivered and how many will be delivered, because the state just has so little control over it. But one of the ways that we combat this fear, this rising fear, is to A, give people access to information, and to B, entertain their questions and concerns in a coherent forum that is carefully designed and run, facilitated for the purpose of easing people's fear.
Exactly.
But look here, Darwin, I got to run to the clock.
Sure.
Run to the call. Caller, you on the clock?
Hi, Miss Greene.
Good morning.
Miss Johnson, good morning to, Mr. Thompson, good morning to you all.
Good
Yes,
morning.
sir.
I intentionally called back this morning
Yes,
because
ma'am.
you see the demand for national solution. That is one of the reasons why I'm persistent on the airways. We have the solution to what is happening now. And most of this has happened because of the former woman parliamentarians, and all they had to do is to call a solution and say, okay, let me speak with Berenice Johnson. They have never, ever reached out, but want to be glorified.
Thank you, Berenice.
Thank you.
What I've taken from that, Berenice, is that we as a people, right, need to be able to sustain dialogue, conversations about the issues and the solutions at a national level.
Exactly.
That's right. So my organization, your organization, we having these great talks and panels,
Right.
but it doesn't mean anything unless we can have a coherent discourse.
Exactly.
The second point is that women in power need to understand that there is an expectation that once you've attained that power, speak to women's issues. You may not be able to solve them, but at the very least, you will address them. We got another caller on the line. Caller, you on the clock?
Good morning, Erin. Good morning to you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just got one thing to say. It's a quote. I can't remember who said the quote. Basically, if you can't explain something in a manner to which a child can understand it, then you don't sufficiently understand the subject yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we are with this COVID vaccine issue.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are given the information, clearly they don't have enough insight or enough information about it to speak intelligently about it so that the people can understand it. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
I like to listen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I think the state, once again, is another exercise where the state has severely underestimated the effort necessary,
To take it on,
for national messaging with such a complex, and in fact, it's a mirror of the 2016 gender equality referendum,
Yep.
right? Whereas as opposed to saying, these are complex issues and we're going to have to take time to understand them, flesh through them, and then have a conversation about it.
So we can know what we're talking about.
Right. What we said is, look here, the answer is simple. Just follow us. You ain't got to do any work yourself. Just
Right.
trust us.
Right.
Without regarding the massive trust deficit
Exactly.
that exists.
Exactly.
Let's get to another caller. Caller, you on the clock?
Yes, good morning to you all.
Good morning. How you
Morning.
All right. You know, we problem in this country we have is that we don't have any progressive politicians. We don't have any progressive activists. We don't have any progressive parties, whether they third party or major parties. We don't have any progressive media. You see, look in the United States. This is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a progressive. He called himself a democratic socialist, right? You have a French prime minister or president and is socialist, democratic socialist, same way.
Right.
You see, that's our problem. See, Bernie Sanders, remember now, Bernie Sanders was urged out or beaten, eliminated by Biden. You understand me? And you know who? And the man that affected that was a black man. You see, was an elderly black man. He swayed the votes towards from Bernie Sanders. See, and look here, all of the agendas of the Democratic today is progressive. The what you call it, $15 per hour minimum wage. These people ain't thinking about phasing that in. It's about doing it. You see the pre-existing health care thing with the insurers. You see everything, and it's time we have some progressive politicians, some progressive media. You see, we have these media houses who are owned by these corporations, owned by the insurance companies, owned by the gambling houses and the like. How could our issues be brought to the light? You see, and it's sad in this country. You see, we run away from and what we discuss pure politics, never the issues. We have a taxation that's what you call it, conservative, not progressive. Everything, our infrastructure, our fiscal infrastructure, pure conservative, and I mean none of these people have no concern for the masses. All about their private interest, never the public good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Caller, that was a great point. And for the record, I am a big Bernie fan. I think that all of his policies are amazing. But caller, this also goes back to the spatial awareness, right? The climate in the Bahamas, as it relates to liberal and conservative beliefs, will the people as a whole understand what it is that we're bringing forth and know that when we suggest something like legalization of all drugs, for example, as a liberal, quote-unquote, policy, when we say legalize all drugs, because in countries where it is legal, you find that the use of these drugs is down, decreased 90%.
And drug-related crime and petty crime down.
None. Yeah. There's almost none. And so are we really ready to take on those policies? Things like legalization of sex work, right? These are all policies that I think we should be taking on. But are we, in the political climate that we have as a country, the conservative climate, are we ready to take that on? Can we even, if we have a candidate that comes out with that, are we going to listen to this person? Are we going to listen to the things that they have to say? I think that person will get more backlash than love. Right.
And so it's deeper than just the progressive politician.
Exactly.
Do you have a progressive culture that understands and can tolerate and will not eject or reject these progressive ideas?
Exactly.
I sit near my feelings as a little hate. Here I am, an anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, chick-chani catching advocate. And this boy say I ain't progressive, right? But then, you know what? It's about spatial awareness and what people perceive to be progressive. Because you're saying it's liberalized sex work, right? Understanding that work is work, labor is labor, and we are all, exploiting our bodies. We are all exploiting our bodies to some extent. And especially those that work for a minimum wage, which is not a livable wage.
Exactly.
Right? That's a definite. Boy, I like this music. This is make me forget I don't like to wake. Right? And keep talking. But so let's get back to this after the break, because it's such an important point. Where are the progressives, or is it that we're not progressive enough to see them? Right?
We hiding. We scared. Honestly, we are.
Some of us are scared.
The violence that comes with it is
Indeed.
Just don't want to have to take it.
Indeed. Maybe that's what happens to some of these politicians.
Exactly.
Maybe the violence they experience in the political culture is so overwhelming they just concede. So we'll be right back after this break. You're on the clock with Erin Greene and Darwin Thompson, my guest today. You're listening to 96.9 FM. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
My name is Janelle Pickering, registered midwife with the Ministry of Health. When we get vaccinated for COVID-19, we are not just protecting ourselves, we are protecting the people around us, like those who aren't able to get vaccinated due to allergies or illnesses. Protection from COVID-19 is critically important because for some people, the virus can cause severe illness or even death. Be sure you are armed with the facts when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccines. To learn more, visit opm.gov.bs/vaccine.
For the past 33 years, Great Commission Ministries has been defending the poor and hurting, feeding the hungry, and sheltering the homeless. We invite you to support our Live to Give program and make a difference in these challenging times. Become a donor by giving a one-time annual gift or a monthly donation of $50 or $100. Call Great Commission Ministries at 325-5801 for more details, or visit our headquarters at 237 Wolf Road. Join Live to Give today. This public service announcement is proudly sponsored by this radio station.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Morning, you're tuned into Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, and you're on the clock with Erin Greene and my special guest today, Mr. Darwin Thompson, human rights advocate. Caller, don't go anywhere. Let me just read a couple of these texts. Erin, that caller is a hypocrite. If tax money is paying for a vaccine, we have to pay it back. We should have an option. Unfair to limit my choice if I pay tax. You see, that's a consideration. That's why I pointed out another consideration, which is the government's actual capacity to secure various vaccines. You may not have noticed, but we're still waiting on the vaccines that we put a down payment on. And the vaccines we are about to, that we are currently rolling out were a gift from India. And we don't have, well, I would say given the past track record, we don't have any hard dates on the arrival of the batches of rollouts. So there are a number of things to be considered in the question, all right? And it's something that I want us to consider a headline, but let's get to the caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock. Hi, sorry, caller. Call back, caller. But, the thing to consider for me is we have a headline that says there's nothing to worry about, right? Like, don't worry, there's nothing to worry about in terms of taking the vaccine. Here's where I get concerned. Because the truth is that there is a very small chance of adverse reaction, right? But we cannot ignore that it exists. And it's disingenuous to say there's nothing to worry about, point blank. And it's disingenuous to say there's nothing to worry about because it only affects a small amount of people. Because the truth is, any one of us could be affected by it. Any one of us could be among that small number of people. Now, this is not to discourage people from taking the vaccine. This is to encourage the state to have a more comprehensive discussion about the vaccine in an attempt to quell fears.
Exactly.
Because that is real.
Right.
And you haven't spoken to us yet about your announced vaccine compensation program. If it even still exists, if it ever existed, and what it is and what it entails. Anyway, I got a caller on the clock. Caller, you live.
Hi, Erin. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
Good. I must say, I always enjoy your topics and conversation. They go deep, and I find them to be very meaningful.
Thank you.
In terms of this vaccine, what is interesting, and I know COVID has taken a few lives, and it's been tough, but from the beginning of the COVID pandemic, they're not talking about recoveries. They're not talking. They're just talking who's got it and who's died from it. But there's no real talk about the recovery level of it. And taking this vaccine, considering that it's new, how does this affect people's insurances and life? Do we know exactly what's in this vaccine and what sort of reaction people are going to have to it over the next coming few years? What is the outcome in that regard, and how is the government moving forward to educate the people with this, because for me personally, I'm not advocate of taking it. And that's just me. Everybody has their own opinion, and of course, they are entitled to that. But as for me and my household, we already decided we're not taking it. We don't know what's in it. We don't know what sort of effects it's going to have on us. There are all widespread talks on how good it is, and there's widespread talk on how not so good it is. So for me and my household, we're simply going to wait this one out.
Right.
In terms of taking it.
And understand that within that is a personal responsibility, right? Like the rules may change and I may have to limit my interaction with the wider world to some extent, but I am making that choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everybody, like I said, everybody have, this whole rollout for take it. I'm personally a little iffy about all of that. And I get it, COVID is contagious, but once again, it's man-made. It is nothing that came from nature. We all know it has to be man.
Well,
in terms of this rollout of a vaccine, and those behind the rollout is questionable. I mean, I put a question mark to them.
We don't have enough data or evidence about anything to make the sorts of decisions that people are suggesting we should just make with ease.
With ease, exactly.
Right.
I have a big problem with that. I have one body, and I do my best to take care of it. And to go push something up in it I'm not 100% sure of, I can't say that is the right way to go.
Thank you, caller.
Personally.
Thank you, caller. And so we need to acknowledge that people, if we expect people to be participating citizens, to make informed decisions, we need to help them make informed decisions.
And provide all the information.
Right, and create, like I talked about yesterday, create a space, knowing that it takes a lot of work to engage people's concerns and give them the information they need to make informed decisions as citizens.
Right.
But look here, I got two more callers. Caller, you on the clock?
Good day, Erin. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
Fine, thanks. I must say that I am stunned at what is happening with this vaccine thing with the government. I mean, they are, the minister indicated that we are pressing along. See in the paper this morning, there's nothing to worry about. I mean, I'm reading these things about our vaccine, about all of the side effects and all the people that have died and countries that are pulling it, and they are saying that, the countries that are pulling it, they're not getting the same one that we have. And it seems like there's just a concerted effort to be stubborn.
Right.
I can't say anything different because
something
is wrong. Shouldn't you pause?
Well, here's my position on it, right? So the WHO and the European agencies say there is a link. There is no proof that vaccine, that batch of vaccines that they're using causes the clots, right? Fine. So, but the doctors' associations have decided to pause in the abundance of caution. So what we have been told is that although we are getting the AstraZeneca vaccine, we are getting a batch that is made by a different company. And that and so we shouldn't be concerned about the risk of what they're experiencing with their batch because they're different batches, right? That's what we're being told. We're being told that there's not. Well, listen, hold on, I finish. We're being told that there's not enough evidence to prove that the clots are caused by the thing. My thing is, why aren't you pausing in an abundance of caution? Because even though we know that they're different batches made by different companies, even though they're the same drug, right? We don't know if there is another cause, right? Like another reason why people in our region or people who are taking that batch are not experiencing the same thing. There's just not enough information. So I would take the tack that the doctors in Europe have taken, which is pause in an abundance of caution. Yeah. But I'm more concerned about the lack of space to engage citizens who want to have the conversation.
Right. I have a problem with that too.
Mm-hmm.
But Erin, it is a fundamental issue. Okay, it's a fundamental issue. You're telling me that if Coca-Cola is made in the Bahamas and Coca-Cola is made in Jamaica, that they have that if they find something wrong with the Coca-Cola that's made in the Bahamas, that it's okay for me to drink the one that's made in Jamaica?
Let me. That's a bad example. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why that's a bad example. You ever had a Coca-Cola from Jamaica, or Coca-Cola had a Coca-Cola, or better yet, when Pepsi was in country, when they were producing Pepsi locally? You ever had a Pepsi, local Pepsi, and a Pepsi from? They taste entirely different.
No. The gist of my comment,
Yeah.
Erin, is that both have
The same
that are consistent.
recipe.
Okay, so if both have ingredients that are consistent, regardless of which country they are in, then the ingredients themselves should be consistent. Meaning that if there is something that is made from one country and something that is made from another country, then if there's a problem, the general consensus is that
There's a problem with all batches.
Same problem.
Right.
Okay.
And
That's
so
my issue.
I got you. No.
Yeah. So whether it tastes different or whether you think one black people making one and the white people making the next one, it makes no difference. But my concern is in moving forward, and I live in right now, that we are going forward with this thing blindly. The health professionals, I saw Dr. McMillan said that she took it and how she only had to take Panadol and all that. People are still concerned.
Yeah.
And I think that those concerns ought to be addressed, as you indicated.
Absolutely. Go on, Darwin.
I think one concern I have too was when the vaccine first came, the plan for distribution of the vaccine, right? So we know that this vaccine is a 2-phase vaccine, where you take one and then another week or two later, you take another.
If you'd like to make...
Right? So Prime Minister Minnis said, well, we're not going to go with that plan.
Yeah.
We're gonna get 20,000 people the vaccine and then pray that we get the other.
But he didn't say that part. He said, we know the vaccines are going to be here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So there's this confidence that these vaccines will be here, but what are the adverse effects of people not taking both vaccines? What happens then?
Right. What happens if I take one vaccine and the time between the second vaccine is so long that the first vaccine has lost its efficacy?
Exactly.
And then can you tell me if that will have any adverse effect on me, right?
That's scary in itself.
And while we don't know the answers yet, because this is all very new, shouldn't we have a space to log these concerns and have them addressed in a sensible and sensitive manner? And if you left it up to me, I would say, hey, you got two options. Pause the vaccine rollout and tell the people you need to focus on campaigning because politics over everything, as you've shown us before, right? Or I forget the second one because I think the first one is the most important one. But look here, we got a caller on the line. Let's get to the clock. To the caller. Caller, you on the clock? Caller, you still there? Still there, caller? Oh, I'm sorry, we lost you, caller. Darwin, we're sort of running out of time. Let's get to the texts. I got a text here that says, let's start at the beginning. Erin, please don't contaminate your show with certain factions of the PLP. Some of them spew lies. Listen, and then I wouldn't be able to have virtually any political party on as a guest because virtually, many of them are to manage their communications. Right? And it seems like with all the resources they have available to them, they can't seem to get a handle on those people that don't know how to speak properly or decently to other human beings. So I wouldn't have any politicians on. Erin, why is Brave Davis playing politics with this vaccine? He seems to be only concerned about political gain. The PLP plan seems to be to create distrust with the government, and it is a dangerous gamble. Listen, both the PLP and the FNM have deeply invested in the distrust game.
Right.
And they are both responsible for the state of affairs.
Exactly.
Just how Mr. Davis is handling COVID is indicative of how he will run the country. But here's the thing for me leading up to this election. The way that both the governing party and the opposition are dealing with the COVID matter leave me with very little confidence about their ability to push forward. Exactly. And don't think I leave personally the PLP out of this critique.
Right.
Because I didn't forget that they had a whole ratification party at a church, right? Had a whole ratification. You could have done that online. You could have done that via Zoom. You didn't need to do that, right? It speaks clearly to their behavior. Another text, Ms. Greene, we are told that AstraZeneca vaccine is funded by Bill Gates' enterprise. So is this deception or not? Are we safe? I have no idea. But you can go online and find the sources of funding for the various companies and vaccines. And people have very openly and blatantly said that they're contributing to these things. You could find that information online.
Exactly.
Last text, hi, a so-called Christian nation is depending on a Hindu nation to heal them. Say what? The fisherman will never say his fishes stink and the vaccine was free, so what do we have to lose if we throw it away? No, that's not the option that we're going to take, that last one. And we are not a Christian nation. That's not what we are. What we are is a nation that respects spiritual values of Bahamians and of other people. And we respect the gift and generosity. Exactly. It don't have nothing to do with the religion thing. So look here, we got another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the clock. I'm sorry, caller. One more? Oh, they're all gone. Sorry about that, caller. You all came in right when I was reading those texts, and I got to read the text. I got a text here that says, please don't bring Dave on. I'd like to bring on a cadre of political advocates so I could question them. See, they usually just call in and sort of spew their party rhetoric.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great to have an opportunity to interrogate them on the clock?
Yeah, we got to get the answers, We have questions, so we need those answers. And you guys have questions, so you need the answers too.
Yeah, if they want to flood us with their party message, this is an opportunity to interrogate it, make them wait for whatever it is they're getting paid by these political parties. Make them wait for it. Exactly. Anyway, we got a caller on the clock. You got the last word, it seems, caller. You still there? Caller, you're on the clock.
Yes, good morning, Ms. Greene. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How you do?
I'm good, thanks. Ms. Greene, listen, I just wanted to call in because I'm going to say to you as a listener of Guardian Radio, it really grieves me because I believe the F&Ms believe they own this station. It's amazing that the Prime Minister could refer to people as contaminants, and then every F&M that calls has some derogatory statement to make about a PLP. And the PLP is stupid. Do they know that some nurses, some doctors, anyone who helps you in this community is either F&M, PLP, or some different, belong to some different political party? Why is it that they always have to refer to PLPs as stupid and not knowing this and not knowing that and not knowing as if the PLPs in this country does not have a right to say exactly
to participate.
How they feel just like them.
Absolutely, sir. Listen, go on, Darwin.
Sure. I just have one short thing to say, caller. I think that you shouldn't take that too personally. Again, like Erin said, politics over everything, right? So don't take that personally.
Well, look here, I'm going to say, look here, take it personally, you see. You make a very important point. Yeah. And I obviously have not spent the attention that I should have in condemning the Prime Minister for that speech. I thought I did a good job of it earlier in the week, but obviously I didn't. And you're right, caller. What type of message are you sending to a country when you use that type of language about the representatives of the people? Exactly. It is not your place to call people contaminants. And it would be even worse if you thought that that was an acceptable political ploy to distract from the things that you should have been focused on, right? Because if you could mobilize 100 people to be in Centerville constituency waving red flags, then surely you could mobilize 100 people to do health checks in various communities. Or you could mobilize 100 lawyers to attend to the needs of the various government agencies that demand your attention, like the prison officers, like the workers at ZNS, like the teachers and parents in schools in the Family Islands that have been protesting recently. Or you could have used that time to focus on the most recent release of stats from the Ministry of Social Services about the abuse of children over the year 2020, where we see that there have been at least 123 reported cases of sexual abuse, or 8 cases of child abandonment, or 151 cases of neglect. But you saw fit to go in the road and call people contaminants and rah, rah, rah. And, dear Mr. Mitchell, your party and the leader of the party, Mr. Brave Davis, you too have things that you need to be focused on. It is not politics over everything.
Very good point.
And it certainly will not be politics over our right to life and a right to a life of dignity.
Very good.
Anyway, I run hot this morning. I can't run hot no more. I got things to do. Thanks for tuning in to On the Clock this morning. I think this was a great open line. Thank you for joining us, Darwin.
Thank you for having me.
I've enjoyed the conversation, and you'll be back, and I'll be back soon. You all stay tuned to 96.9 FM. Lee Van Miller and Unleashed is next. Have a great day, Bahamas.